I got a couple quick minutes here again. Everyone seemed to like the last video about gain staging, so I thought I'd show a little bit about um, how pedals kind of have a little gain stage within themselves and how it affects the signal. So what we're looking at here is a 200 hertz signal on an oscilloscope screen. Sorry, it's jumping. I'm pretty sure that's because of the analog to digital conversion. It has a hard time syncing. But at any rate, for our purposes, we can see what we need to see. What we're looking at here is a sine wave um, that's being generated by the oscilloscope, and you can see it's nice and smooth. I'm going to turn the pedal on. This is a Boss Blues Driver BD2 Wazacraft pedal, and now the pedal's on, and it didn't change the sine wave any. So the pedal's not breaking up. I got the level at about 9 o'clock and the gain at about 10:30. And the pedal's pretty clean right here. A lot of times guys use this pedal gain staging. They'll use a pedal similar to this pedal or a pedal that functions like this one in a fly rig, and they'll use this last in the chain. And they'll set this pedal to kind of be like an amp on the verge of breakup. And then they'll push other pedals into the front end of it, because a lot of times when you have a fly rig and you're playing gigs all over, you never know what amp you're going to get. It could be a Fender, it could be a piece of junk, it could be an awful amp, and they don't oftentimes, well, nobody wants to really rely on an amp like that for their overdrive sound, so they stack pedals on their board to create that sound. So again, this is the Boss Blues Driver. It's commonly used for this. So again, here we're off, and now we're on. Again, really no change in the signal. Now, leaving everything set the way it is, all I'm going to do is bring the gain up. Now this is how this is commonly set. You bring the gain up, and it's called setting it on like an amp on the edge of breakup is what they want to do. And as you see, we get a little bit louder, and I'm still bringing the gain up, and now I can't get any louder anymore. So the pedal's out of headroom because that level control is limiting it. As I continue to push the gain, we start to distort the wave shape and get more breakup until we're, kind of sawtooth looking and pretty fuzzy looking. So a lot of times this will be set. I'll bring the level down a tiny bit more. A lot of times this will be set, to right about here where it's just starting to break up. And then if you push another pedal into the front of this, you'll, rather than make it louder, it'll drive this pedal to break up. Now, how that other pedal is voiced will affect where it breaks up and what frequencies it breaks up in. So let me turn this off, and we'll take a quick look at this real quick. I just want to do this. What we have here is a sweep of this pedal, and go the other way. We know our test tone's at -10 like the other one, and we can see that we have a bump here at around 1500 and it comes down. I'm gonna bring the level up on this a little bit just because I don't like where it's showing up on the chart. Let's bring it up a bit. Do it again, quick sweep. Okay, that's probably a little loud, but somewhere it's pretty touchy right in this section here. There you go. That's probably somewhere where you'd have it. You can see you have a big hump here, and it breaks up down. And you can also see the pedal is breaking up through here. If I bring my level down, my gain down, and leave my level where it is, I expect we'll see a smoother, much smoother wave signal. Continue to come down on the gain, and it continues to smooth out without getting too much quieter. So this would be this pedal set up to run fairly clean, and then you could drive another pedal in the front of it. Now if we go back to, let's take a look back at this, and hit go, make sure my frequency generator is on, and then go here, and let's say here, no, maybe here, and maybe here. Okay, so pedal off, pedal on, no change in volume. And again, gain comes up, and we've got to run out of headroom and distort the pedal. Now we can make the gain come up with the pedal, or we can make the gain come up with another pedal in front of this. And that's how this pedal is often used in gain staging applications. Okay, so now we go back to the blues driver, and again, set pretty clean. I've changed the frequency here. I've moved it up to 500 hertz instead of a 200 hertz test tone because the pedal behaves a little differently. As you get further up the audio spectrum, this pedal tends to break up a little bit more. It was just a little bit easier to show this. It's important to understand that at each different frequency range, different pedals will break up at different points because of how they're EQ'd and because of how much signal goes into the gain stages inside the pedal and where it clips. So if you overdrive in the low frequencies early in the gain cycle, it'll clip those frequencies, or vice versa, the high frequencies. So I moved this up because it sort of just shows a little bit better what we're doing. So now what I have set up here is I have our blues driver, which I'm going to turn back off, and I also have a Wampler dual fusion using the blue channel, which is basically a Wampler Paisley drive, which again we're set at unity. And if I turn them both on, they're both at unity. And again, we're really not breaking up right now. This isn't getting, in this frequency range at 500 hertz, it isn't getting louder, and it isn't really distorting. So now what we're going to do, we know we have this pedal set up at the verge of breakup, the blues driver, and it's the last pedal in our chain. So I'm going to take my level, I'm going to leave my drive off on my dual fusion, I'm just going to raise the volume. This pedal stays pretty clean with the drive off and when you just raise the volume. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise the volume, and there we go. Our blues driver's running out of headroom and starting to distort. Now if I turn the blues driver off and I take a quick look at the Paisley drive just to see the waveform. The waveform is pretty good. The Paisley drive's not really distorting, but it's overdriving the heck out of the blues driver. There we go. There we go. So now I'm going to take the level back down to unity. Now, so what we've essentially done now, if I take my blues driver, turn the Paisley drive off, and I just bring the gain up on my blues driver, again, we're getting roughly the same wave shape. So as you get louder going into the blues driver at this volume level, this is the wave shape you get, and this is how it distorts. And it'll distort more the more volume I drive into it, the more gain I get. But the volume control is limiting our overall output. It's limiting our headroom. Again, I want to bring this back down until we get to unity. And I can make the same waveform with the dual fusion, maxed out, running pretty clean. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Now, if I take the dual fusion, turn it back off, let me lower the volume, and I'm going to bring the drive up on the dual fusion. I'm going to turn the blues driver off. Okay, that's just the raw signal going through, no pedals on. Okay, the dual fusion is now on, and I'm going to just bring up the drive level, and we'll see the waveform we get of the dual fusion at 508 hertz. And it starts to run out of headroom, and it starts to make this shape, sort of similar to the blues driver, but not as sharp around the edges. So if I take this and send this into this, so I take this, meaning the Paisley drive, and send it into the blues driver, we get that. And that's a dramatic change in the way your sound is. But the pedal didn't get any louder. It's out of headroom, and you're running one waveform now into a different waveform, because when you run a clean pedal into the blues driver, it gets the one side of sawtooth, it gets this, and when you run this into this, you get that. And that is changing your voicing. It's important to note also, I'm doing this right now at 500 hertz. Pedals will distort differently at different volume levels. They'll be more rounder in some of the bass frequencies and more sharp at some of the higher frequencies. And this is all depending on your voicings. Oftentimes, let me turn this off and let me set the dual fusion to basically unity. I'm going to turn the driveway down and we'll bring this back to unity. Now what we're going to do, I just want to do a quick sweep of this and show you what this looks like. If we go quick sweep, you can see, well, not quite at unity. There we go. This should be close. All right. Our test tone's at -10. I'm not quite at unity. I'm a little lower, but you can see our hump comes in, and this is voiced largely at like 1800K. Is where it's loudest. It'll probably break up the most here. It'll also probably cause the most distortion in the blues driver right in this range, particularly when you see the blues driver's voicing is with a bass hump like that. It's as you bring it up, this point here gets more pronounced, and this adds voicing. You can cause different distortions in different frequency ranges, and that's how gain staging works. And that's how we stack pedals together. That's why a lot of times things just get mushy, because when you're driving a huge signal into a pedal that's limiting it, you can just run out of headroom. Everything just gets mushy and really almost squarish kind of waves, and just doesn't sound as good. And that's why.